Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Fed Up with me, the eternal miserable one, Fed Up guys. Joining me today is Sam from the New Zealand death metal band Imperial Slave. How is it going? I'll say tonight,
Good,
man.
good man. How are you?
Not bad, not bad, not bad, man, not bad. Stoked to get into this. Got to say, man, before we go any further, I love the background art, Napalm Death, obituary, the picture you've got to your right as well. No, I don't know right from left now. So just the
It's
skull picture. Yeah,
backwards. It's backwards to me now when I'm looking at it. This is
yeah,
this
yeah,
hand.
yeah. So one thing I always like to start with, man, is the artwork, and this is really nice stuff because it's got that post-apoc vibe. It's got like the horror mixed in. I see a lot of those classic movies in it as well. Escape from LA, Escape from New York, where the guys like got the daggers, got the guns, still at large, is all the chaos and carnage going. So I just wondered who did that for you, and did you work with them to bring that creation to life?
Yeah, our artist Barney Bewick. He's a pretty well known New Zealand artist, but yeah, it's because this album or that the song title anyway is about the son of Sam, the David Berkowitz killer who was in New York.
Oh
So that
yeah,
is
yeah.
that is New York. So good spotting. Yeah, we worked with him on the first album as well. He did cool as fuck artwork for that. But yeah, we're really into old school '80s style artwork like the Megadeth, the Iron Maiden stuff.
Yeah,
That has a lot of gems in there. You got to look at it for a while on the gatefold and find little bits of different songs all in there. So yeah, we like to make that a part of it for sure.
yeah, it's really eye catching. Very beautifully done as well. I noticed that straight away, and I thought, right, that's right up my alley. Like the whole album, like as I charmingly told you in an email last night, um, which is a nice no, a lot nicer than it sounds. That's a nice way how to
Oh, I know. I took it. Great. It's fucking hilarious. That's exactly how we talk.
I'm only being more nice lately with it being YouTube than mine, but yeah, I can curse like a sailor with the best of them. Um, so I noticed right from the Batman, the opener, Slave or Death. This really takes no prisoners, as they say. It immediately grabs hold of your beers. It's because I'm seeing you drinking, man. It's infectious. It immediately grabs hold of your ears. I think
Good.
someone has taken my beers at the moment, and it absolutely pummels you to death. Really hits hard, which I love. I think that's the perfect way to open an album. Just straight away, get in there, smash them to pieces. Say, "Welcome to the pit. You're going to be obliterated." It has as well. I can hear. Um, Obviously, there's death metal, there's a death thrash, and if you listen closely, I can hear a little death grind vibe coming in as well, which notably I feel like from, as I said in the background, that napalm death kind of vibe. Um, really nice, man. So I just wondered, before we even get into talking about the song title and the lyrics, if you could break it down how you got that music together, and did you all think, man, we want something so fierce that people are just going to be grinded into oblivion?
Well, we kind of just with the first album, we went with kind of a thrashy idea, thrashy death metal, because that's my biggest influences, like '80s thrash and '90s death.
Yeah,
So we really went with that on the first album. But even back then, the idea for the second album was just make a death metal album, like
yeah,
just not so much thrash, not so much anything else, just fucking death metal. And like suffocation, malevolent creations, a big one for me, especially vocally. And so yeah, we talked about that. Isaac, our guitarist, one of our guitarists, wrote the music for the album on this new one, and I just did the vocals. But we definitely talked about what we wanted the album to be like, and it was just like furious fucking death metal. And because of the suffocation kind of aspect, they like slammy shit that they kind of started and people took off with and made it a new genre. So we have a few slammy parts, like just slow, chunky, fat, heavy riffs as well, and the furious blast beats in that. So that mixes it up a bit, but it's all, death metal.
Oh yeah, it's no there's no apologies there whatsoever, which I love. I did notice one of those slammy breakdowns which you're referring to was on one of the later tracks, and that's really one of the only kind of, I think, apart from Blood Moon Sonata, which we'll get to, those are the only kind of, I guess, rest periods. Well, if you're in a pit, it's like take a rest. That for that very short time, that's it.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is fantastic, man. So I'm picking up as well as a real anti-authoritarian vibe with the album as well, which is cool stuff. It's a Slave or Death. I'm just wondering how you all came up with the title for that song, and is it the theme of it? Is it kind of, as I'm gathering, being a slave to the system, or choosing death? Or am I totally off with that?
Well, that was kind of the vibe of the whole first album. How you described it was like a slave to the system and being a wage slave that we all basically are. And that was that. But with this song, it was direct about the people from West Africa that were taken as slaves, and it was either be a slave or be killed or commit suicide. And there's some references to their religion, which was voodoo, where voodoo came from, but theirs was voodoo. That's in their religion, they would, in the afterlife, they would get to go back to Africa, and if they committed suicide, they would stay where they are as a zombie slave. So it goes into that, and the rapid fire singing that's near the end. Singing, it's not even singing, just fucking yelling. And so it's kind of hard to understand, obviously, because it's death metal. But yeah, that goes into that kind of thing there.
Yeah, very, very powerful message and theme within that song as well, which is supported by the ferocity I feel in the vocals, certainly the music. Do you think using real world issues and particularly looking at these areas of history as well, not only obviously raises awareness around them, but adds something different to death metal?
I don't know. I didn't really think about it. It's just that I only really read non-fiction.
Yeah.
So it's just what I'm interested in is history and odd shit that's going on right now as well. Just I've never really read many stories or novels and that. I mean, I've read a few Stephen King books and that, and a few different ones, but my main interest is, real life. Real life's fucking horrible enough to sing about. You don't need to be singing about angels and demons or fucking Satan or any fucking made up bullshit. You can just turn on the news, like, fuck.
That's what I was thinking, man. And I've noticed there's a lot of bands in extreme metal are doing this now as well, because it's like, I know you've got a fictional monster, say that's really horrible, really evil, but as you rightly said, if you just look literally in the world and things that have happened in the world, I'm like, this is real, this has happened, or this is happening. Like, there's the real monsters, which are often even worse.
It's us.
Yeah, exactly, man. Coming on to the next one, then, Who Rules the World? This, man, this got me so hyper, Sam. It's pit worthy as F. That's as polite as I can put it at the moment. You've got like I said, you've got a short solo in there, and before it returns to the moment to reform the pit, get the sweaty fiends running around in a circle again. I'd imagine this would be an awesome one to play live, very enjoyable, and it would create absolute carnage, which is a good thing. I've realised to be non-metalheads, they'll be like, "What's this guy on about creating carnage and stuff?" But, yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Who Rules of the World? So musically, man, absolute rager. You must have enjoyed getting that one together.
The middle section of that is one of my favorite parts on the album, but the fucking verse riff, man, was a bastard to try and get the vocal pattern too, because it's not 4/4, it's, I don't know, some weird 7/8 or 5/6 or some shit. So I couldn't work out how to do the vocals. It took ages. It was a nightmare, but yeah, we got it done. Isaac, our guitarist, is like knows music theory inside out better than all of us put together. So he's a wizard when he's making that shit up. And when he shows us the demos, like, yeah, that sounds mean. But then when we try and work it out, like, how do Alberts go to that?
Yeah.
It was hard to work out. That and one other song were the hardest for me vocally. But then after you hear it back, it's easy. You know, it's like singing along to a song.
Yeah.
But actually creating it was hard work.
So was that the most, with that song and another, which we'll come to, were they the most challenging ones to make when you were recording the album?
For me, vocally, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So when you're faced with a problem like that for your vocals, how do you deal with that problem? How do you get past it?
Well, it was just me in the studio because I produced the album as well. So when I did the vocals, it's just me alone in there. So you just keep going over it and just keep yelling at that part. Was that right? Nah, ruined it. Do it again. And just keep doing it. And I just got a lucky shot and then, okay, that worked. And then you get the rhythm of it for the next few takes. But it was pretty frustrating, man, because I get mad at myself pretty easy.
Yeah, I'm the same, man. I patience with myself is something I find difficult because I only said this to, there was a sludge band I was talking to last night, and we were mentioning like the different ways to record now, you know, together with your band in your locality in the studio, or where you've got some bands where they're internationally based, people in different parts of the world, and they're emailing each other their part for a song, which there's nothing wrong with if it's someone you've always wanted to work with and you can't obviously get on the train or something and say, hey man, I'll be there in 10 minutes, you know, I get it. But I was saying, and this is, I think, something I'd have trouble with. I'd prefer, I think anyone would really, people in my own area, so you can go down in the studio or wherever you practice and just get it done and get it all nailed. And that's the problem if I was faced with a situation like that, because this is going to sound weird. I've got patience with other people, but not with myself. Myself, I'm terrible. And I want to get it done. I want it out of the way. I can't wait. I'm like, no, I want this done so I can move on to the next thing. And then I start to get really, it's almost like arguing with your own reflection, like it's manifested. I start to curse at myself, get really mad. I'm like, man, why isn't this happening? Why is this? So yeah, it's has a whole other headache on top of it. Fine with anyone else, just myself.
Me too. Exactly. I'm exactly the same. Like I'm a music teacher as well. I teach kids music, so I've got all the patience in the world for anyone else. But if it's me, I get pretty worked up and mad at myself, and then just argue in my head with myself. And then just tell myself to just calm the fuck down. Like everything's okay.
Yeah. It's difficult as well, Sam. I'm a naturally hyper person. I have an overactive imagination. It's very visual. I state this pretty much in every episode going, but it's like when I was looking at your music, what we're talking about now. I not only do I hear it, I see it visually in my mind. I see it playing like a movie. I'll get in, I'll see a song title and then boom, that's it. It stimulates something, and it's the same even if I was outside and someone said, "Right, here's Imperial Slave from New Zealand." I'm heard them before. Listen to that song, boom, movie going off in my head. It's so hard
Cool.
to switch off from at times, man. Though that's the only problem with it.
That sounds pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it is.
Double-edged sword, is it?
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword for sure. That's for sure, man. So the title track, Still at Large, enjoyed this one as well. It keeps up the relentless rhythm, I feel. So again, could you break down the theme behind the title, the inspiration behind? Oh, sorry, I skipped over Who Rules the World before we come to that. Who Rules the World? That's what I wanted to ask you. Is that a reference at possibly secret societies? The a shadow government at all, bankers? Those guess people behind the scenes who are pulling the strings.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I mean, a lot of people think whoever's the leader of America is the most powerful man in the world. It's like bullshit. He is.
Yeah.
Like every time it changes from a Democrat to a Republican or whatever, they're still bombing the same country. It's not.
Yeah.
They don't have fuck all to do with anything except just being the face. And it's the people who own the media companies that only let us know what they want, and the military industrial complex that takes trillions of dollars while there's like people rotting on the street and shit.
Yeah, I read a statistic once, Sam, about I think the number of countries or so that had been bombed since the end of World War II, and it was pretty depressing reading, to be honest. To go with what you said, and like I say, this is real life, the real world. So yeah, man, absolute horror. So coming on to the title track, I always like to do this, Sam, do a deep dive track by track, get the themes out there for people and break down the music too. So Still at Large, the title track for the album, as I mentioned, this I feel maintains that relentless carnage. So was this always going to be the title for the album, and what does it signify?
It definitely wasn't always going to be the title for the album. Because we didn't have a title for the first album, so didn't need to worry about it. And with this one, we didn't really know till everything was done. And we even kind of changed things around. But it just was the name that suited the album the most. Like the lyrics are about David Berkowitz, who was the son of Sam Killer in New York that I mentioned before. Obviously, he did get captured, but this part of the section that I'm yelling about in the song is when he's still at large, and it signifies the band's still going as well. Imperial Slave, still at large,
Yeah.
And it just seemed like the best title out of all the songs to call an album.
Yeah. I wondered if it was something to do with that. Someone still at large. And I'm now thinking of, there was a movie, wasn't there, about Son of Sam, where there's a really cheesy moment where I think it describes when the guy was talking about how supposedly Satan had talked to him, and there's a dog comes into the room and starts talking to him. It's like one of the most unintentional comedy moments I've ever seen in a movie. It's so cringe.
I haven't seen that, but I've heard, because the cover actually had a dog on it originally. Down in the left-hand corner, there was a dog, because that was a thing. But just before we released, or just before we went to press, I saw an interview with David Berkowitz in jail, and he said there was no dog telling me what to do. That was something that the media just picked up and went along with. And so I had to get hold of the artist and to like take the dog out, dude. That's apparently it's bullshit. So, but I can imagine that in the movie. I haven't seen it, but yeah, they just went along with the media shit as well, and lots of people think that's real.
Yeah, it's such a cringe moment in that movie as well. Especially that scene, and I thought how the guy who did the voice for the dog, I thought, how did he keep? I always thought, how did he keep a straight face? It's so bad, honestly, man.
What's the movie called? Do you remember?
I'll Google it. I'll Google it actually while I'm here because I don't, but I always remember that scene. So let's see. It'll come up. Trust me, folks. Those who are watching, it's a moment you've got to. Now, I think, is it Summer of Sam? Possibly, I think it might be Summer of Sam. I think it's that one. But cool. If it's not Summer of Sam, folks, if you just Google Son of Sam movies, Son of Sam movie dog scene, you'll find it easy. The clip's on YouTube as well.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna look that up after this.
It's total cheese, man. Excuse me, I thought I was going to get a coughing attack. I'm actually still recovering from flu, Sam. So if there's moments where I do mute out just to cough, don't worry. I've not been monetarily possessed by the dog from Son of Sam. So, yeah. So those who serve. Now I said that, I've cursed myself.
You need a beer, mate.
Yeah, I never want whiskey, man. That's what I've been drinking with my chest at the moment. I'll tell you. But yeah, beer wouldn't be bad either. Those who serve, I like this one as well, blistering. So again, those who serve. Now this is an interesting one because this could be interpreted, oh man, in quite a few ways actually. First one, you could think, well, is this in reference to like what we're saying, those who are serving, those who are in charge, or is it about those in the military who are serving, police, even the horror vibe, those who serve something? So would you do a better job than me of telling us what it really is about?
It's actually about samurais, and the word samurai means those who serve.
Yeah.
So it's about them. I'm kind of obsessed with Japan. I really want to play in Japan. I've played in loads of bands in different countries around the world, and in the Western world, but I've always wanted to play Japan, so I've just wanted to do a song about something Japanese and pick samurais, and that's that song. That
absolutely fantastic. You have no idea. Well, you probably do actually, because you can probably see the background. How hyper I now am hearing that. Oh, dude, the same. I've been Japan. Samurais, even the legends of ninja, martial arts, but especially samurai, absolutely obsessed with it. Japan is such a Japan is such
SHINOBI there.
Yeah. Well, that's the channel is going to be renamed as MOSH SHINOBI soon. I just haven't been able to find any time to do it yet because I'm usually on here every day, which I'm not complaining about. But yeah, Fed Up will soon be MOSH SHINOBI. Dude, I find Japan so fascinating, both in its history and its culture, and then even where it is now, because I feel it's like this amalgamation of very cutting edge technology, the latest. It's almost like a part of the world which is ahead of the majority in terms of its tech, but still maintains its tradition. It's like in Tokyo, there's still little hot spots of where the shrines, etc. You can find little quiet moments to relax and calm in a really bustling city like that. And then I forget the name. It's a city that's really well known for its food as well in Japan.
It's not Kyoto.
Yeah, Kyoto. Yeah. Oh man, it's somewhere I've always wanted to go. The scene there, the metal scene. gotten that hyper. I've just hit the desk. That was good. I was talking with a Swiss thrash band called Maniac a few weeks ago, and they played Japan in 2018, and they said to me it was one of the best experiences that they've ever had in their lives.
Yeah.
So many people there, but they were so passionate about the music. Great scene there for metal. Said when they were playing live, all these people just packed in the venue, but all of them so supportive of all the bands. So I totally feel what you're saying.
Yeah, it's definitely the place I want to get to next for sure.
Yeah.
100% the place I haven't never been to before. That's got to be next. But hopefully, yeah, it's the next place we go. So I just wanted to have a song about for them as well, you know, that to show them respect, because every time you meet someone Japanese, they're always the most respectful people, and it's just like really a place I really want to go to.
They're very humble, very well mannered, very respectful. There's some bands that what's that French band? Have you ever heard of Rise of the North Star, where the guys are like dressed as urban samurais? They're from France.
No, I haven't.
They're quite interesting. And there's a death metal band on Comatose Records from the States that make death metal all about the samurais as well. And
cool.
I'm struggling to remember the name, but I know they are still signed to Comatose because they dropped an album last year. But yeah, that's awesome. I better get talking about the rest of the album because that's just sent me on. Man.
One more thing, that was the other song that I had real trouble with the vocals was
right.
Yeah, just in the verse as well where it comes in. It's another one of those funny timing things that Isaac did just to mess with us.
Can that be then the most challenging, I guess, situation with doing death metal vocals is the timing, because it always never amazes me, and this when people say, "Oh yeah, doing death metal vocals, you know, extreme metal vocals is really easy. Anyone could do it." And I said, "No, you can't. You have to train your voice. There's the projection. It takes a lot out of you. No one can just do it at all." So I just wondered, is the timing, and I imagine keeping the voice healthy as well, those are the most straining things?
It's just when it's, because I'm a drummer, I only started being a vocalist for this band. So when the tempo's going 4/4, it's easy. It's fine. It's when you get into these other tempos that you can't, especially when it's super fast, the riffing's fast, you can't find where the beginning and the end is. It's a lot harder. But it was only those two songs that have that, so that's why it messed me up a bit. But it's all right in the studio. You can just keep going at it until you get it, and then before you do it live, you're used to hearing it back, so it's a lot easier. It's just getting it down the first time is a real mission.
So how did you get into? Did the vocal technique for doing death metal just come natural to you from doing the drum?
Nah, I injured my shoulder, so I couldn't drum anymore. Well, I couldn't.
Yeah, I read about that.
I couldn't play every night. I did drums on the first album, but I couldn't play every night, so I wanted to do vocals, and I had to just go in a room at a practice room and just find what kind of voice I could do, because I'd love to sing like John Bush, like Anthrax kind of style, but tried that and it just didn't sound good at all. And then just tried a few different things, and Malevolent Creation was the one I really connected with. I've been a fan of them for 30 years, and Brett Hoffman, that vocalist, is easily one of my favorites, and so I just kind of went with that. But it took a long time to be comfortable with it.
For sure. Because I read about you injuring your shoulder, being a vocalist, and I thought it's an interesting journey for sure. And your vocals, man, as I said, they're very fierce. Straight out there reminds me a lot of Swedish death metal as well, which is great stuff. You know, Vomitory bands like of that nature.
Cool.
So fantastic stuff, man. You're very welcome. So Exterminate, this one has some nice riffage on as well. I guess I think this is the one with the video as well, isn't it, for Exterminate?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, and it has this is one of the few where I guess there's a rest moment, and the rest moment isn't it depends on the opinion if it's a rest moment or not. It's a good windmilling part with the riffs. Was this another song that was just such a lot of fun to make?
Yeah, this seems like this is the only one that we've played live. We've been playing it for probably close to a year. We've been doing this one. We haven't done any of the other ones live yet, but we have the album release party tomorrow night, so we're doing most of them then.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, this one, it feels like an old song to us now because we've been doing it for ages, and yeah, it's just got more of a groove to it than the rest of the album, kind of like the first album did as well. So yeah, it definitely feels like an older song to us because we've been doing it for a long time.
And what's inspired the theme of the song as well, and the name?
I used to live in Berlin, and my dad was visiting, and we went to Sachsenhausen, which was a concentration camp just outside Berlin, and it was just a weird vibe in there. Obviously, when you find out what went on in that space, and just chilling experience. And so, yeah, I basically wrote about that. The first verse is just the feeling of being there, and then the rest of it's just kind of about what went on there. And it's it was pretty disturbing.
Yeah, I bet it was a harrowing experience. I know people who've been to Auschwitz, and I think that's what they said. The birds don't even. I don't know if I've got this 100% right, but the birds don't even fly around it, and yeah, it's
it's messed up.
Is this something that's important to you, Sam, though, as well as a person, is highlighting some of these things in music that have happened so that we don't forget?
Not really. I mean, I'm just talking about stuff that I've experienced or that I find interesting. Not really trying to send a message or even educate, or it's never really about the listener or listening to it. It's just about making something that I relate to or that relates to me.
Yeah.
It'd be much cooler if you were right and I was like some whimsical fucking trying to educate everyone, or don't do this.
Yeah,
I'm just yelling to some music that we made, really.
Yeah, and real world horror. Sadly, that's out there. Although I've got to ask, because some people do, or someone would be, oh, why didn't you ask if that was blah 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 blah? So,
oh yeah, it's a fair question.
Yeah, but no, all good, man. It's all right. So, Origins. This is another. I've got another favorite of the album, which we're coming to, a very, very personal favorite. So, Origins. Curious with the inspiration behind the title for this one and the theme. So, could you break that down for us, please?
Yeah, well, just because I'm into history, and Imperial Slave has a slave kind of, well, it's got slave in the name. So I just started looking up the earliest recorded instances of slavery. And it was these, old Mesopotamian tablets that had all these laws on there. I think it was, I can't remember now, 50 something laws, or maybe it was 30. I can't remember. but there was like 7 different laws just about slaves, and that was one of the earliest findings about slavery, and it was, yeah, there was already laws about it. There was an earlier one actually, Urakagina, that was just partial tablets, so it didn't have as much information, but that's mentioned in the song as well, and it goes through, I think there was 5 or 7 different ancient tablets about that, like from, I think it was 2100 BC to about 1000 BC.
Yeah, if you think about it as well, it's depressing, isn't it, that we've been doing this to each other for such a long time, because people they tend to forget to think, right, it's just been, say, like recent with European history. I know it goes back a lot longer than that, and yeah, it's stark, and when you do read and you think, man, it's no pun intended, because I know you've got a beer. I was just going to say it's pretty sobering reading.
Yeah,
not to buzzkill your drinking experience at the moment.
I definitely won't. But yeah, it's shocking that, I mean, when you talk about slavery, people just think of the European slave trade, the Atlantic slave trade, I mean. But yeah, it's going on way before that, and it's every ethnicity has done it to themselves and to each other, and it just seems to be a thing ingrained in humans, is some crazy fucking, dominance and power is just inherent in human DNA, I guess.
Yeah, and it's always like the, I guess, the black market dealers, profiting from all the arms, the weapons, going even right back then. It's not just a modern thing. The same with selling their own people for greed, man. One of the eternal ravages of humanity, for sure. Was this a song that you enjoyed musically putting together, though? With the MOSH.
Yeah, well, musically it was all Isaac, so it's hard to. He like literally did all the demos and just showed them to us. We cut a couple of bits out, but only probably 2, like literally a couple, and they were all done by him. He did all the riffs, all the arrangements, and on the first album I did the whole album, and then got the band together, and then for this one, he just made all these demos. I think he did about maybe 11 or 12 songs, and then we just went with the best ones.
Nice. So do you all at times when necessary, will you get together and discuss what works on one song, what you maybe need to take out or enhance a part at all? Just wondered if you do that with the creative process.
No, that's the plan though with the next album, because the Achilles, the bass player, and Ant, the other guitarist, they make amazing riffs as well. But Isaac just did like whole demos of whole songs, and it's like, here, listen to this, and we're like, holy shit, okay, that's great, it's ready to go, let's go. But on the next album, definitely everyone's going to be writing and writing together and planning songs instead of just chucking a bunch of riffs together. Not that we did that either, but it's going to be more of a thought out team effort.
That'll be interesting to hear, for sure, man. So I'm going to try and behave so we don't give too many spoilers away here, but are you going to follow maybe some of the similar kind of themes with the next release?
No idea.
See what happens, because you're all writing together, so it could be something.
I mean, it's always going to be non-fiction, but who knows what will happen. And I do find it hard to write. I don't write lyrics unless the song's done, because I need to write the pattern first. So write the structure of how the words are going to go, and then put those syllables in, put the words into that pattern. So yeah, no idea, but it'll be, I don't want to just stick to the slavery thing, you know. I want to be able to yell about anything.
Yeah. So when you are yelling, Sam, with that said, and you know, when you were presented with the music for Still at Large, and when you've got a, you know, when a title's being created for a song, I'm just wondering here, do you just naturally yell, or do you, in your mind, do you get like some of those, if you think, right, I'm going to try and think of, say, how I would feel in this situation, and really put that into my vocals to get that emotion out there?
Yeah, I mean, because most of the topics are kind of nasty, so it's easy to get mad about, and to put all of your being into it.
Yeah, I wondered, man, with that. It's interesting to hear. Sometimes if I just keep looking at myself for long periods, I can get mad. But that's a whole of a topic, man. usually with the battle with patience with myself, as I said earlier. So coming on to the latter part of the album now, 536. This was one of my favorites.
Cool.
I feel, oh man, because it doesn't let up, and I thought of like of being on some like those being on a bouncy castle and thrown around non-stop. It really did. It was just
music video.
Yeah. Beautiful sweaty mosh, man. I absolutely loved it, because it's just all out extreme and totally non-stop. So was this, did you feel yourself this was one of the even heavier ones on the album, and when you'd finished recording this one, thought, man, this is really going to hit them hard?
I remember hearing it for the first time and just thinking that should be the second song on the album, because it just kicks off straight away, and I knew I was going to start the vocals straight away as well. But because the first song ends with vocals, I didn't want the second song to start with vocals. You know, you got to have a break with some music in there. So ended up putting it later in the album. But it's one of the songs that I remember listening to the first time, that I like how it kicked off straight away, and it's just off and running, and that's cool. I like when albums do that on the second song. It's just like, come on, we're going.
Yeah.
They're not going to let up, but it didn't work out that way. But that's what I thought when I first had it. And it's actually the first song we recorded as well.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, that's awesome. I say that is definitely one of my favorites. Absolutely loved it for that reason.
That's cool. That's good to hear.
Oh, man. Yeah. I think people will, dude, when they hear that live, absolute pit monstrosity song that will go over so well. So the next one, and this is interesting, it's a cover of Beethoven Blood Moon Sonata. You do the piano on this part as well. So did you just want to cover that? I imagine, being a music teacher, you obviously have an appreciation for classical music. So was that the influence behind covering the song?
I just fucking love Beethoven. There's a riff on the first album that no one will know, but it's directly taken from Beethoven. But on this album, actually, no, when we were doing the last album, we were just in the studio, and I was playing it on the piano because I love playing that. And Isaac had a guitar on it, which he always does, and he just started playing along to it, and we're like, whoa, that sounds good, man. Let's do something with that.
Yeah.
And then kind of forgot about it, because it was 2 or 3 years ago when we were recording that. But yeah, it was always a plan, like, let's do something like that. I always loved Voice of the Soul by Death with the acoustic guitars and just lead over the acoustic guitar and that kind of thing. So, and yeah, it was like, fuck it. We wanted to make a furious death metal album, but let's do whatever we want as well.
Yeah, it's nice to throw something outside the box in there as well. It's very nicely composed, I feel. And I wonder that if it was an appreciation for Beethoven, obviously hearing your music teacher, you know, that just reinforced that preconception that I had. So, and then the last track, you can hear it in the lyrics, what this one is about, what it's referencing as well. No shortage in that area, sadly, for things we hear. So I'm curious, did you always want to finish with that track, or was it originally going to be placed somewhere else?
Good question, because we did not know where to put it. I suggested having it first, but I can't remember why that didn't work out. Isaac kind of wanted it in the middle, but it just came out too good, and I don't think you could follow it with anything. Originally, Blood Moon Sonata was going to go last.
Right.
But when we were doing the demos, not the demos, it was like the unmixed album, and I was listening to mixes, and the acoustic guitar at the beginning came straight after the piano. I was like, that's good. That's a good transition. If you're listening to the album all in one go. So it's like those first 7 songs are all furious, and then you have that break with the piano and lead guitar, and then it merges into the acoustic guitar of the next song, and then kicks back into all hell fury. So it kind of worked out that way, but I think it's definitely the best song on the album. It's definitely my favorite.
Your favorite, and did you? I think anyone who listens to the lyrics, I think you can identify what the inspiration is behind it. But for those who maybe don't know this, could you break it down for us? Why you chose the name for the song and what it's about?
There was a different song in the demos that was called Priestiality. Isaac actually came up with that name, and I'm not sure which one of the other songs was actually called that, but when I did the lyrics, I changed all the names of the songs, but that was a really cool name. And Isaac suggested, you know, the Catholic Church has done some evil shit, and continues to do so. And this, because I always like study the topics of the songs and try and get in depth about it. And this was disturbing. Like, of course, people know some stories, but when you constantly reading about it or watching documentaries and stuff, it's just really, really disturbing, and yeah, it's sickening. So it's really easy to yell this song, because there was another one from the first album as well that was really disturbing to research. It was the song's called Ungorta Mór, which is Irish for the great hunger that what do they call it? They call it the famine.
Potato famine,
yeah, but it wasn't a famine. There was shitloads of food. It was just the English were taking it all.
Yeah.
And sorry, but that was a disturbing song to research as well. And for this album, it was Priestiality, and it's just fucking sickening.
Like you were saying earlier, every culture on the planet, if you look back in history, go past European history, really go far back into times, no one can really claim to be innocent. There's been some truly, truly monstrous, horrible things done. Exactly. I'm from the north, and I'm not going to say nothing horrible has happened anywhere else in Britain or in Ireland. Of course, it has. I'm from the northeast, and there was, again, because it's a while since I read about this, so my history might be 100% accurate here. But the I think that there was a case where I think it was called the Harrowing of the North, where they pretty much decimated us in the north because, what was it? Weren't politically in line with the ruling class. I think down south with with the king. Did this happen in the time of Henry VIII? Possibly something like that.
Yeah.
And I always said to people, if you think they've been decimating people in their own country, then they're going to go and do that to the neighbours, like with the potato famine. You know,
Yeah.
I think if they've already been doing that to people on their own part of that island, they aren't
Yeah.
going to think twice about, oh yeah, we'll go over and do that to our neighbours. And then
Exactly.
sadly, that
Yeah.
goes on to other parts in the world, and we all know.
And it's more of a class thing than where you're
Yeah,
from. Like
yeah,
the rich just don't give a
yeah,
flying fuck.
yeah. That's why now I've always kind of followed one simple rule in life, and I still do. If you're okay with me, I'm okay with you, regardless of what color you are, culture, whatever, wherever you're from. You're okay with me, I'm okay with you, because I think, well, we're all human, we're all on the planet. It's pity, sadly, with I'll just say current things that are happening
Yeah.
that cannot be remembered. And I've said this before on shows, that to put a nerdy sci-fi angle, and people think, yeah, he's watched too many sci-fi movies. But you think, if we've been doing this on this planet to each other for so long, it doesn't give you much hope for if we find another planet out there, especially if there's a resource that would benefit us. Think, yeah, we're having that. You're off the planet, we want it, or we'll enslave you.
Oh yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, well that's
uh,
what would happen because humans are fucking evil.
yeah. There's so um, just to talk about some of the vinyl and the different editions that you have coming out for Still at Large. I know we've just totally depressed everybody, but it's like, yeah, you tune in human history, great.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
We actually love making fucking music because music is about joy, you know? It's about
yeah,
entertainment and being happy. It's
yeah,
just when you make a furious form of music, you've got to put furious themes to it, you know, so that fits it. And then when you start researching this shit, it's like, holy crap,
yeah,
this is horrible.
yeah.
But it's about entertaining people and making people happy.
Exactly.
Because,
And extreme music it's healthy in a sense because it gives you that release. You can get all of that anger, that frustration out, you know, in a
exactly.
healthy way. I do respect the fact that you mentioned that you wanted to do write about other areas instead of all the, you know, as you said, angel and demons, all the usual that happens. Like, no bad nose bands, but sometimes at times I do think, even myself, I think, oh man, none again. So it's nice
Yeah.
to have, you know, something different, which perfect segue into talking about the various versions of the album that you have coming out. You've got very nice vinyl, which is sold out. I like the logo in the middle of that as well, and the whole thing opens up just like, man, it almost looks like a graphic novel or, you know, a movie booklet, and that's carried forth even on the CD and the tape version. So was that something that you wanted with those editions of the album, for people to, I guess, have that piece of artwork that does feel like one of those, I guess, post-apoc graphic novels?
Yeah, well, just because I've been a vinyl collector since I was like 10 years old, I love
Yeah,
vinyl and I love the gatefolds. It was always the coolest ones to get. Iron Maiden,
yeah,
which was a big influence, obviously, as yeah, they put a lot of work into their artwork and to their packaging and stuff, and it's just good to see that effort put in
yeah,
as a fan. So obviously, I want to make the best products for people especially now that, I mean, I would anyway, but it gives people more reason to get a physical copy instead of just Spotify or YouTube or what most people do. But I mean, if you're not into that, you're not into it. So it's not going to make any difference. It's more, that's what I want. So that's what I want to make,
Yeah. Giving something people a nice piece of art to that's memorable. I know the vinyl is sold out. So do you have some new stock of vinyl coming soon? Or is that at the end of that run? Because vinyl is stupidly expensive.
No, we're doing another run the run's coming in January. So
nice.
Yeah, there'll definitely be more to sell. And I don't mind if it's expensive. I'm so glad that vinyl is back, because even for those 20 years or whatever, maybe longer than 20 years that it was gone. I mean, it was never gone, but it's cool to walk into a record shop and there's records there now. It's like bigger than the CD selection in some shops.
Yeah.
And I was always collecting it when it was, they were just doing short runs. And now those records are worth shitloads because they didn't do huge runs of them. But it's kind of the same as the music. You just make what you want. What do you want to hear? What do you want to get? And that's what we make, is what we love.
Yeah, it has to have that passion, that soul, and that love in there. First, other guests have said the same, and I've said totally, it has to be for yourselves first, because if not, if you're not feeling it, and then that gets released, other people aren't going to feel it. They're going to notice. And vinyl, go on, Sam.
What's the point of making something you're not into?
Exactly.
It makes no sense. So
might as well just make elevator music then, if that's the case.
Or just work at McDonald's or do something you hate for money.
And you're right with vinyl. One of the persistent topics on the show, because bands are making vinyl releases now, and people are buying vinyl as collector's pieces of art. Sometimes some people, they'll buy 2 copies, one the vinyl they'll listen to, and then the other they'll hang on the wall, like literally as an art piece. So I think that's great stuff. And the art that you see on vinyl, man, being a nerd, I can lap that stuff up all day, man. I think that's great. Do you have any shirts coming, any hoodies, anything like that?
We do have shirts coming. I just talked to the printer today, actually. She sent them down today, so they should be here tomorrow or the next day. And then, no, they better be here tomorrow because we've got the gig.
You need them for the release, man.
Same with the cassettes as well. They're on their way. So hopefully they arrive later on today or tomorrow.
Oh, that's great stuff, man. Also, do you have any more videos planned for 2024 to support Still at Large?
Yeah, we want to probably do a live video for the song Still at Large. Or, that's the idea. We'll do some kind of thing for that. And then definitely an official, proper directed movie. No, not movie, video for Preciality. Even though it's like 6 minutes, whatever it is, nearly 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
Whoever directs it's going to hate that. But it's just... I think it's just a song that deserves a video.
Yeah, it could be like a short film.
Exactly. Like Thriller.
Why not? Awesome, man. I noticed when I was reading about Imperial Slave and dude, this must have been such a fantastic experience. I'm gonna butcher the name here. The Aalborg Metal Festival in Denmark, played that with Misery Index, Pig Destroyer, supported Vader when they come over to New Zealand as well, which has been great. But was that both those experiences must have been some career highlights so far?
Yeah, definitely. The Aalborg Fest was incredible. We were on tour with Flesh God Apocalypse for 12 dates. And that was one of the dates, but it was a long trip to get there. I can't remember the the day before, I think we played in Gothenburg, and then had to drive to the edge of Sweden, then get a ferry to Denmark, and then get to the gig. And we were on at like 4 p.m. So finishing at night in Sweden and then having to get to Denmark. It was a long trip, but it was definitely one of the best gigs on the tour.
Yeah.
And it was cool playing early because then you just get to relax and see all these amazing bands and meet heaps of cool Danish people. It was, definitely a trip.
Yeah.
Really cool.
And I know you mentioned, we were talking about Japan earlier, but are there any plans to get back out there on the international scene?
Yeah, definitely. The company we toured with in Europe wants us back next year. So they're going to offer us something. We're not sure what yet.
Yeah.
But it depends what the offer is, who it's with. A big thing for me is playing with cool bands. Like, I want to play with the best bands we're fans of, or bands who just pull a massive crowd. Because, we're unknown, basically. Apart from those 12 shows we did in Europe, we're basically unknown. So we need to get on the bill with some really cool bands or get onto some cool festivals and just keep gunning at it. I do want to try and get to Japan, obviously, but it's, I just got to try and find some Japanese promoters or some other bands from there that want someone to piggyback their tour.
Yeah. When we're done chatting today, I'm going to shoot you some names off of some bands that I know from a few parts around the world. Maybe could get on some gigs out there as well. Some
Awesome.
cats I know in South Africa too.
Cool. We can argue about the rugby.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm not a rugby fan myself.
Neither am I anymore.
But I respect it because you're going to be a crazy person to play. It's literally MMA with a ball, and usually, New Zealand, man, you just destroy the planet. So it's like,
yeah, we used to. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about something.
It's okay, man. It's the same with football, soccer.
Football over there, yeah.
Yeah, it's just really like you're watching like. It's man, for sure. Oh man, there was something you were saying that I wanted to follow up with, and now my mind has evaporated, which is so awesome when that happens. It was a really good point you made. Oh man, that's gone. So I see I'm just curious as well, Sam. Are you a fan of a lot of those like 80s action movies as well? I'm just wondering, just based on the artwork, that I mentioned earlier.
Action movies. I'm not really the action movies. I guess you're talking about Escape from New York and Escape from
Yeah.
I'm more into the fantastical movies, or like I love Back to the Future. I love Star Wars big time.
Yeah.
But all those 80s movies, I was a young kid in the 80s, so it was like Goonies and Flight of the Navigator and Batman. The first Batman was a big one for me.
Mm.
But not so much. Oh, Big Trouble in Little China was a massive one.
Oh, it's a classic, man. That's always on TV, and rightly so. Lo Pan. The guy who's more or less, I feel, the influence for Raiden. The guy who gets huge big at the end of the movie. Yeah. Jack Burton. So such classic lines.
All in the reflexes.
Yeah, I heard they were supposed to be doing a remake of that with The Rock, so we'll see how that goes. I guess whether it's
really
absolutely
with The Rock.
Yeah, we'll see if it's butchered or not. Was it Sam? When I got the email from Vlad, Vlad Promotions, shout out to Vlad. And Vlad used to send. Oh yeah, definitely, he's a top dude, man. He used to send me. He sent me stuff for years, and he used to send me a lot for my former radio shows. And I got an email off him literally 2 days ago, just before we started talking. And I went through the list that I had for December, and I was looking, and I looked in. I saw these 2 bands from New Zealand, including yourselves. There's another I've got to hit up. And I always me myself like going to countries musically where they don't get as much coverage, where there's a band that's unknown. I mean, unknown bands are always welcome wherever they're from. And I saw him and the title of the band got my attention straight away. And man, and this is no ego stroking here. When I went to your Bandcamp before you even downloaded the promo that Vlad had sent me and I pressed play, I literally, well, you saw what the experience I had in the email. I was like, oh God. And I just thought, that's it, before I even contact anyone else on this list. And I remember I emailed Vlad back. Oh man, it's been seconds after he sent me the email. I'm like, dude, I'm working on this already. I'm hitting up the death metal band from New Zealand. I'm going to ask them if they want to come on the show. I said, this has got to be heard. People have got to hear this music. The only, we've all heard of Alien Weaponry. There's another band as well. They're all Maori guys. I can't remember the name of them, but they started to get some.
Sheppard's Reign.
That's them, yeah. Sheppard's Reign.
Yeah.
They got some traction, and before that, I think there's Bridgeburner from New Zealand as well, possibly. And before that, there was, I mentioned this in an email, the only other band I'd come across before, and they were a crust grind band called Graves. Possibly from Auckland, possibly. They've not been active for a long time. I'm wondering if they went on and did they become Bridgeburner? I'm not sure. But they were a very raw band.
I'm not familiar with them, but I was living in Germany and Ireland for about 8 years or something. So maybe they were in New Zealand around that time. I'm not sure.
I think, do you know, man, I think they kind of broke up in 2015. I think that was the last time I think anything was, but they were.
Sounds familiar, but don't know anything about them.
Outside of extreme metal, I'm a huge punk hardcore guy as well. Love the rawness and the speed and the aggression intensity as well, which you obviously get in death metal too, which is fantastic, man. So you mentioned there's the album released tomorrow. So do you just want to get the word out about that so we can plug it as well?
Yeah, well, it'll be, I know for everyone else watching where you're from or anywhere else in the world won't be able to get physical copies by then, but it'll be on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Deezer, which I didn't even know was a thing, Tidal, whatever, Bandcamp. It's on all the stuff you listen to music on. And it'll be, I don't know how it works, if it's by time, because over here, like New Zealand's the first time zone in the world. So I guess it'll go worldwide when it's 12 o'clock here. I'm not sure how that works. Or if it goes in 12 o'clock in your time. Surely it's just on everywhere at the same time, eh?
Yeah, I would. Let's hope so.
Well, then it's 24 hours from now, 22 hours.
Yeah, there you go, folks. Honestly, everyone, get over to Bandcamp, imperialslave.bandcamp.com, and order the music, both the previous release as well, which is self-titled. You will not just be disappointed. Tell people about them as well. Let's get the word out. Honestly, really, really good sick mosh. Really do support this. So, man, I always, when we get to the end of the show, I like to give people the opportunity to not only promote the band, but shout out anything that they would like as well. So the floor is yours. Is there anything you would like to shout out and promote?
I just want to shout out, well, firstly to you for putting this on and giving a shit about a band that's on the other side of the world. And just anyone that's looking for new music and still supporting unknown bands and just, keeping metal alive. There's thousands of bands out there that we would love that we don't hear till they're like 5 albums deep or something.
Yeah, agreed.
But it's cool that, people are still promoting it and getting names out there. And it's cool. And we just want to play everywhere we can with whoever we can. So if there's other bands watching as well, hit us up on our Facebook page or whatever, Instagram, all of that stuff. We've got a TikTok now, apparently. So yeah. I don't know how that works. Do you message on? Do they message on TikTok?
Yeah, I think they can. Yeah, I think they can. That's one area of anti-social media, as I call it, that I'm trying to resist going on.
Yeah, I'm not on it. It's just another medium to get the band name out. So you just jump onto everything you can. But I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm ready to dance around like a ninja to crap pop music, to be honest.
Yeah, you won't see me on there, mate.
Yeah. It's like, hey, check this out. Oh, no, I'm all right, thanks, man. But no, you're very welcome, man. I was so amped to get you on this show, and thank you for coming on really so quickly as well, which is awesome. I was blown away. But honestly, man, I always look outside the box as well for bands myself. When I did my radio shows, I played bands from Nepal, Thailand, I said New Zealand back in the day. I've always done that. And the funny thing is, you can find some really sick and interesting bands in these parts of the world where people wouldn't actually think there'd be any metal or any hardcore there. They'd think, oh, well, but I've said to so many people, wherever you go in the world, there is always a metalhead. It could be the smallest country on the planet, the smallest thing. There'll always be one band or one metalhead there, always. And I encourage people to step outside the usual countries, because that's where you get some really interesting interpretations, fresh takes as well on music. I'm not saying that nobody does that here or in America. Of course they do. But stay open, because there's some amazing bands out there.
And it's just harder for bands to get their name out there now, because the record companies are dead because of the internet killed them. But now we can do this on the internet and get any band can get their name out. But it's a melting pot of millions of bands, and it's hard to rise up, you know.
It is, and that's in everything at the moment, even with podcasting and doing this, because there's the oversaturation. There's so much, so it's right. How am I going to have my own identity to stand out amongst all the crowd? Not to have say, oh, he just sounds like a B-level version of whatever, or the band just sounds like this person with this singer. So. As great as all this technology is, yes, we can talk now, which is fantastic, and hopefully talk again in the future. But as you said, the flip is that saturation as well, which is difficult. But got to remain hopeful, got to remain optimistic, or there'd be no point. But like, well, won't do this.
Oh yeah, definitely optimistic. I mean, even just doing this is cool. It's going to lead to something in the future, connect with some other bands, or and let's talk again when we're coming over to Europe next time. We can have another chat about whatever's happening then.
Definitely. If you get over the UK, there's a band here called Flayed Disciple, death thrash band. You guys would flow very nicely on the show together. That would be cool. I mean, man, when I read the press release, when you played out in Denmark, and there's part, I think you were saying, not many bands from New Zealand have got out there on the international stage and done that kind of thing. So you've already got one up in that area, obviously made some connections out there. People are asking you to come out again. And I think when they hear the strength of this album still at large, that you will be getting asked to play at many places. If I was still doing my radio shows, this would have been something I would have played with no hesitancy, been on there straight away, and I'd have shouted at people on the mic in alternative language to get out the chairs and throw themselves into a wall. Anyway, I want to thank you for coming on, man. I'm going to shoot you a couple of people I know off air in a moment, folks. We'll see you on the next episode. Possibly might be dropping a little promo tonight with, funnily enough, some more guests from near your neck of the woods from Australia later about a ninja game that's in development, actually working on behind the scenes on organizing an interview with them. So, you know, just keep an eye on the channel. We may be live for a few minutes with the team behind Ninjas Unleashed, who are from Melbourne. Other than that, I will see you all on Thursday with the Lumbar Endeavour. Everybody take care. Don't forget to follow, support, and subscribe to stay up on the latest that's happening. Definitely go and support Imperial Slave, folks. Really, really. If you enjoy fast, extreme mosh, you need to support them, man. It's awesome stuff. So it's uncomfortable pause time where I hit end stream and there's the delay and people are used to this now. And I'm like,
thanks for watching.
Definitely, man, definitely. So, and shout out to Vlad as well for connecting us. Greatly appreciated. And thanks to you, Sam.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.